So if a nurse in the United Kingdom earns like 34,110, and then a nurse in Denmark earns like 87,436, what's the difference? I am a nurse, and if there's one thing I want to fulfill in life, then it is to explore nursing in many different countries. I've been a nurse in Ghana, and I know how it feels like to be a nurse in there. And I'm a nurse in the United Kingdom. So the question is, what is my nurse move? As part of looking at the monies, I'm also looking to work in an environment that is very peaceful. So with this, I decided to ensue in a massive research to look at the top 6 countries with the best nursing pay rate. So if you want to know the nitty-gritties of my research, why don't you come with me as we look at that. Welcome back. If this is the first time seeing my channel, my name is Setdaku Ajma. You can simply call me Kobe. So my research was based on 4 considerations. The first one has to do with the age restriction. So the question is, will my age restrict me from working in any of these countries? The second one has to do with the fact that how difficult is it to get a job in there. So we'll be looking at the difficulty level, and then here I'm going to rate it from 1 star to 5 star. If it is 5 star, probably it means that it's very difficult to get a nursing job as an international nurse in these countries. And if it is 1, it is much easier. We'll also be looking at the annual pay rate, which is a very important factor to me. And then do you have to write any exam to be able to get yourself in there? You look at that as well. And the duration of the process. So these are the factors I considered during the research process. So let's dive into the 6 countries. Remember, you're going to start from the 6th one to the first one, but the first one would shock you. The 6th country on the list is Switzerland. Why is Switzerland sit on the list? Is because of the annual pay rate. How much does a nurse in Switzerland get? So per my research, I got to realize that a nurse in Switzerland is paid $64,793 per year. And talking about age restriction for Switzerland, I didn't come across anything like that. They haven't got any age restriction. So regardless of whatever age you have, if you have interest in pursuing nursing in Switzerland, you can go ahead and do it. And the difficulty level as an international nurse to get a job in Switzerland is 5 star. Why is it 5 star? You know, Switzerland is basically a country that is not majority English speaking country. They've got their language, and that they are much more comfortable for nurses who can speak their language to come in there and work. So if you can't speak their language, it becomes very difficult to get a job in there. So if you are interested in working in Switzerland, the first thing you have to do is to start learning their language, and it will be much easier for you to get a job in there. What's the 5th country on the list? Guess. So it is Australia. So for my research, I got to realize that Australia is 5th on the list because a nurse working in Australia is paid $69,699, which is twice or more than that of the UK. So now, the difficulty level of getting a job as an international nurse in Australia is 1 star, which means that it's less difficult. And it's because, you know, Australia speaks English. So especially if you're a nurse in UK and then you want to transcend to Australia, it's very easy. But then it becomes much more of a 2 star if you are from Africa, you know. But I mean, that is not to say you can't get it if you are coming from the set area. And you also need to write an English proficiency test. Basically, they accept the IELTS, and they've got their cutoff point, which you can see on here. Now moving on to the 4th country on the list. In fact, this was my first time hearing about it, and that is, when I made research about this country, I got to realize that it's not very difficult to get a job in there. Apparently, I had 1 star, which means that if you're an international nurse, basically it's much easier to get a job in there. And the annual pay rate here I had is $72,000. And is there any exams you have to write? Yes, it's the CGFN examination. If you can probably put yourself up to do this, then you are a step further to getting a job in Virginia Islands. And another consideration is that with this country, I couldn't get any agency or an institution that will probably give you that kind of guidelines as to how to go about it. So in as much as it is 1 star, it probably, I'm looking at it in terms of 2 or 3 stars, okay? But you can read more about it and then see how it goes. And then the number 3 country on the list, it has been my dream country. Yeah. And I was very happy when I found it on the list. But there's trouble. Let's look at that. So the 3rd country on the list is Canada. So when I did this research, I got to realize that a nurse in Canada earns about $75,660 US annually. So now, if a nurse in UK is earning like 34,000 thereabouts, and then a nurse in Canada is earning like 75,660 US dollars, then you can imagine it's like a nurse in Canada earns twice or more than a nurse in the United Kingdom. And the difficulty level here is 3-star. I mean, the process to Canada is some way. Even though I know friends who are in there, but then the process is some way. So if you want to go into it, then you have to do a lot of research about it. I think I made a complete video about it. You can check in the link on here, and then you'll be able to get that. It's 3-star, and it's all because, Canada has got 10 provinces, and each province has got a different regulatory body. What this means is that these regulatory bodies do require different requirements, and as a matter of fact, you have to know which province you want to pursue nursing in, and then you start looking out for their requirements. There are a whole lot of stuff to it, which I think I'll make a top-up video about this, and then if you're interested in working in Canada, you would have access to that. If you want to have notification to any of these research I'll be talking about, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be notified. Now, moving on to the next country. I didn't even know this country has got nurses at heart. There are some countries that are treating nurses very well, and one of them is Denmark. So it's the 2nd country on my list. What's the difficulty level? It's 5-star, which means that it's very difficult to get a nursing job in Denmark. Why is it very difficult? Language barrier. Like Switzerland, they would want you to have a feel of their language. So the question is, can you speak the language? If you can, then you stand a chance of getting a job in there. English is not their majority spoken language. And when you talk about the pay rate, per my research, I got to realize that a nurse in Denmark earns about 87,436 US dollars. How much is that? Let me just see. So if a nurse in the United Kingdom earns like 34,110, and then a nurse in Denmark earns like 87,436, what's the difference? So 34,110 subtracted from 87,436. Let me see how much I'm getting. So the difference here is 53,326 US dollars. Can you imagine this? Denmark, you are treating your nurses very well. Don't be tickled. Now, let's look at the first country. Alright, so the first country I got on my list by my research is Luxembourg. Am I pronouncing this word? Let me go to Google and search Luxembourg. So this is a country in Europe. So according to Wikipedia, Luxembourg is a small European country surrounded by Belgium, France, and Germany. So probably the environs of this country is Belgium, France, and Germany. And then this country is first on the list, which means that they treat nurses like kings and queens.
Do you know that Luxembourg is the #1 paying country, for nurses in the world? Do you know? And Luxembourg pays 91% dollars, like the whole world. And if you have all these things complete, from the very first document from your passport to even you have all these things complete, and you pay for the 75 euros tax, then it is very easy for you to migrate here in Luxembourg and practice your profession as a nurse, and then make the money of.
So what's the annual pay rate? They pay nurses in there about 91,000 US dollars. Did you hear that? 91,000 US dollars. And the difficulty level, in as much as they pay higher, probably it's very difficult to get a job in there. And I rate this as 5-star. Why is it so? Language barrier. They speak 3 official languages, and that is Luxembourgish, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right, please forgive me. And then French, German. These are the major language these people in there speak. So if you are looking for to practice nursing in Luxembourg, then you have to familiarize yourself with these languages. So you can see that all the countries I've talked about, the difficulty level is found around the language. I mean, there should be a system for that. But anyway, these are the results I had per my research. I know at this point you are asking, where is United States of America? Well, I just don't know why, but I don't have much interest in working in the USA, so probably I know nurses in USA are earning much, but I can't really tell why it's not on my list. It may be it's because I don't have interest working in there. Yeah, and if you should ask me, I can't give you any specific reason. Anyway, I believe this video has been very much helpful to you. And if it has, which of these countries do you fancy and why? Leave that in the comment section. I want to know your thoughts about this. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope to see you in my next video.